Apple iPad 10th Gen versus iPad 9th Gen, which tablet should you buy? Peace be upon you, my dear friends and followers of the channel. How are you today? I hope you are well and in good health. Today with you is a beautiful, new and important video for everyone. This video will be called Apple iPad 10th Gen versus iPad 9th Gen, which tablet should you buy? But before watching the video, subscribe to the channel and like and share so that it reaches the largest number of people. Now let's watch the video and I hope you like it. After the launch of the new iPad Air M2 and iPad Pro M4, you may be looking for an iPad without such a high price tag. This is exactly what the iPad was designed to do. But should you choose the 10th generation iPad or the older 9th generation iPad? The decision is a little easier now than it was before when it first launched. The iPad 10 was priced at a ridiculously hefty £499/$449, so much so that Apple decided to keep the iPad 9 on sale at its original retail price of £349/$349. However, Apple has since reduced the price of the iPad 10 to the same price as the iPad 9, abandoning the iPad 9 entirely. However, you can still find the older iPad 9 at retailers as they try to sell remaining stock of the discontinued tablet, and you might find it at a bargain price. So, the question is, if you find a discounted iPad 9, is it worth buying instead of the iPad 10? We've compared the specs and reviews of the iPad 10, 2022, to its predecessor, the iPad 9, 2021, so you can make the right decision for your needs. Pricing and availability. The iPad 10 is available as Apple's most budget-friendly iPad option, and currently has a recommended retail price of £349/$349. Apple has quietly removed the iPad 9 from its shelves, though you can sometimes find it at third-party retailers, especially during big sale seasons. Design. The iPad 10th Gen is larger than the iPad 9, measuring 10.9 inches while the latter measures 10.2 inches. Although this isn't a big deal, it's worth considering if you know you'll be traveling with an iPad. Both devices have a 12-megapixel front-facing camera with Apple's Center Stage, a technology that uses machine learning to automatically move the camera to keep you and others in the center of the frame. However, the front camera of the iPad 9 is portrait while the front camera of the iPad 10 is landscape, which is the same mode as the newly launched iPad Air and iPad Pro. The iPad 9, which is getting a bit dated, especially for an iPad, has a Lightning connector while the iPad 10 has an upgraded USB-C connector. If you have an iPhone 14 Pro Max or older, this may not necessarily be an issue, but if you've already made the switch to USB-C, this will feel like a step backwards. Speaking of old, the iPad 10 has a much thinner bezel and no home button, which makes the iPad 9 look very old by comparison, as it has much larger bezels and a home button. The iPad 10 is available in brighter colors than the iPad 9, with a choice of more subdued blue, yellow, pink, or silver. The iPad 9 is only available in silver or space gray screen. Both devices also have Apple's proprietary Retina displays. However, the iPad 10's display is Liquid Retina. This means that the iPad 10 screen is built on LCD technology, which has a higher pixel density. However, while the iPad 10 has a higher screen resolution than the iPad 9, it's certainly not the best screen found on an iPad, with the iPad Pro moving to OLED. However, for a budget option, it is more than acceptable. Performance. Unlike the newer, higher-end iPads, the iPad 10 and iPad 9 run on Apple's A chip rather than its desktop-level M chip. The iPad 10 runs on the A14 Bionic chip, which is also found in the iPhone 12 series, and the iPad 9 runs on the A13 Bionic chip, which is also found in the iPhone 11 series. Neither chipset is Apple's latest offering, with the Apple A18 Pro now inside the iPhone 16 Pro. Although we found the iPad 9 does great with the 2019 chip still very fast and more than adequate, we found the iPad 10 ticks all the boxes when it comes to performance, with obvious upgrades if you're coming from the iPad 9 or iPad 8. The iPad 9 also lacks connectivity, as there's no Wi-Fi 6, and if you want a cellular model, you'll only get 4G networks as there's no 5G support. Battery. Aside from the more convenient USB-C port on the iPad 10 and a Lightning port on the iPad 9, battery life and charging on both devices remain virtually unchanged, with Apple claiming 10 hours of battery life for both models. We found in our tests that after a typical day, the iPad 10 stayed with more than 50% battery remaining, while the iPad 9 needed to be charged several times a week. Accessories: iPad 10 is compatible with more iPad accessories, including Apple Pencil first generation, USB-C, and Magic Keyboard Folio. Meanwhile, the iPad 9 supports the Apple Pencil first generation, but is not compatible with the Magic Keyboard, supporting the Smart Keyboard instead. Judgment: although the iPad 10 isn't quite perfect, it still has some clear improvements over its predecessor, especially regarding its design and performance. We would have appreciated more improvements to the screen, but it's still good enough for watching videos or gaming, and battery life remains excellent. If you're on a tight budget, the iPad 9 still offers a lot of great value and shouldn't be discounted, but if you have a little more money to spend, the iPad 10 is worth it. Design and screen: iPad 10th Gen. Design: full screen design with flat edges, no home button, and USB-C port. Screen: 10.9-inch Liquid Retina display, 2360 by 1640 resolution, P3 wide color, true tone. Colors: silver, blue, pink, yellow. iPad 9th Gen. Design: classic design with home button and Lightning port. Thicker edges. Screen: 10.2-inch Retina display, 2160 by 1620 resolution, sRGB colors, true tone. Colors: space gray, silver. Performance: iPad 10th Gen, A14 Bionic chip, faster and more efficient. iPad 9th Gen, A13 Bionic chip, good for everyday use but slower in comparison. Camera and sound: iPad 10th Gen. Rear camera: 12MP wide camera with 4K video recording. Front camera: 12MP ultra wide, horizontal orientation, best for video calls. Speakers: stereo speakers in horizontal position. iPad 9th generation. Rear camera: 8-megapixel wide camera with 1080p video recording. Front camera: 12MP ultra wide with center stage. Speakers: stereo speakers in vertical position. Accessories and connectivity: iPad 10th generation supports Apple Pencil first generation with USB-C adapter, compatible with Magic Keyboard Folio, USB-C port for charging and data transfer. 5G connectivity on cellular models. iPad 9th generation supports Apple Pencil first generation, requires Lightning port, compatible with Smart Keyboard, Lightning port for charging and data transfer. 4G LTE connectivity on cellular models. Software: both run iPadOS, but the A14 Bionic processor in the 10th generation ensures longer lifespan for future updates. Price: as of 2024, iPad 10th Gen starts at $449. iPad 9th Gen starts at $329. Which one should you choose? iPad 10th Gen, best for users who want a modern design, improved performance, better cameras, and a USB-C port. iPad 9th Gen, ideal for budget-conscious users who want a tablet capable of performing basic tasks. At the end of the video, I thank you for watching and I hope you liked it, and see you in a new video.